And what's up, everybody on Instagram? My Instagram is the Real Boyce Watkins, so feel free to follow at the Real Boyce Watkins. So I wanted to talk for a second, not for too long, but I want to talk a little bit about fear. I want to talk about this thing that I think is really something that we have to figure out and understand and get a grip on. Because I'll tell you what, I want to thank Mark Lamont Hill for getting me to think about this because Mark Lamont Hill, we used to be really good friends, but we're not really such good friends anymore, and we disagree on a lot of stuff. But actually, something he said today in response to a criticism he had of my comment about Black excellence, it really made me think about how so much of our potential as a community is killed because of fear. So let me tell you what happened. I'm gonna lay it out as honest as I can. So so somebody asked me. They said, are you friends? Are you friends with Mark Lamont Hill? I said, I don't know. I don't know how Mark feels about me. I'm not. I don't take it too personally, but I think he might. Maybe something I said maybe made him mad or something. I don't know. But there was a comment I made about how white supremacy used to scare me. It used to bother me until I learned about Black excellence. And what I learned is that when we are as excellent as we can be, when we are as organized as we can be, when we are as strategic as we can be, then I don't believe white supremacy has a chance against Black excellence. So I think Mark took some offense to the comment, and he just wrote Jesus. Right? He shared the comment. He wrote Jesus. Like, I guess, like, so of course, all of his the people that followed him were like, yeah, how dare he say this? How dare he talk about Black excellence? How dare he not be as outraged about white supremacy as the rest of us? Whatever. Well, here's the problem, right? And I understand. I mean, everybody has a right to their opinion, but my immediate response to that comment was, I said, yeah, and it's sitting around praying to Jesus that is the exact reason that we as Black people are not moving forward. So it's funny, when you use the word Jesus. I said it's really interesting because if you look at the history of Black people and why we haven't succeeded, why we keep getting our ass kicked, why we can't even stand up for ourselves, let alone, it's one thing if they're coming to get you and they're doing things to you. We know about systematic racism. They got entire books about it. But y'all know as well as I do that there's something about our culture that is a pussy ass, wimpy ass, weak ass culture. Like, seriously, I mean, that's the best way I can just put it. I just have to serve information raw today. I can't. I'm trying not to cuss, but sometimes the words just come out my mouth. So maybe it's the Holy Spirit that's making this happen. I don't know. So maybe you can blame that on Jesus too. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when he said Jesus, it really triggered me because I said, yeah, y'all sit around praying to Jesus, and the white man is your Jesus. Right? You pray to him. He's your Jesus. But then also, when you pray, your prayers are not being answered in an adequate way. It doesn't mean that going to church is bad. This is not anti-religion. This is really anti-white supremacy because we are under the false belief that white people are the majority of white supremacists. We are under the false belief that white supremacy comes from white people. I don't believe that. I believe a lot of white supremacy comes from Black people. You see, white supremacy is a two-person tango, right? In order for it to work, in order for somebody to be superior over you and for that superiority to maintain itself, you have to, on some level, in many cases, submit to that superiority, or it works better that way. And so, so for example, in a football game, each team thinks they're superior to the other. If the Dallas Cowboys are playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, then the Cowboys believe in Cowboy superiority and the Chiefs believe in Chiefs superiority. And so they get on the field and they play against each other, and you figure it out. You work it out on the field. We're going to find out who's really superior by how it goes down in this game. But imagine if the Cowboys and the Chiefs played each other, and the Chiefs believed in Chiefs superiority. The Cowboys believe in the Cowboys don't believe in Cowboy superiority. Let's say the Cowboys also believe in Chiefs superiority. Well, that's going to be an easy game because every time the Chiefs move the ball, the Cowboys are going to get out of the way. They're not going to play defense. Every time the Cowboys get the ball, they're not going to try to score touchdowns. They're going to hand the ball over to the Chiefs. So who do you think is going to win that game? If the Chiefs believe in Chiefs superiority and the Cowboys also believe in Chiefs superiority, who's going to win the game between the Cowboys and the Chiefs? Answer me in the chat. The Chiefs or the Cowboys? The Chiefs or the Cowboys? Well, it's going to be the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to beat them 150-0. Well, when you talk about Black people and our relationship with white superiority and white supremacy, We are indoctrinated into white supremacy at an early age. And similar to the Dallas Cowboys believing in chief superiority, what happens is that indoctrination causes us to be really invested in white supremacy, really invested. I mean, even more invested than white people are. Some white people, some of them have even forgotten about the idea of believing they're superior to anybody. But they come in the room and we start bowing and yazzing before they even have a chance to even consider the fact that they might be superior to us. So what's the evidence of that? Am I just talking out the side of my neck? Well, let me give you some examples. When you have a child and you're raising your child and you want your child to be educated, do you expect your child to be educated by black people, or do you hand your child over to white people? Which do you do? Well, that's white supremacy. You believe that white people are better educating your black child than black people are. You think that when somebody like me comes along and says, hey, you can educate your own child, you look at me like I'm crazy. You get mad. I see Negroes getting mad. Like, how dare you? What you talking? You talking crazy. Black people can't build no schools. Black people can't own no schools. Well, let me just tell you about something called slavery. There were millions of black people that came out of slavery who built their own schools. They built little raggedy ass, tiny ass schoolhouses that educated kids at a much higher level than your multi-billion-dollar public schools are doing today. They got white liberals educating black kids in Baltimore, and then some black people who are in that system as well, where thousands of these kids can't even read. So, a dedicated black person that really has a true love and passion for who they're trying to help can do a better job than somebody who's been validated by white people and all this whiteness that you think is next to godliness. That black person who's determined, I'll take that person over another person from another community any day of the week. What are some other examples that we are white supremacists? In addition to handing your child over to white people to go to school, when you buy products, you give the ball right back to white people. You give your money to white people. You think that white businesses are better than black businesses. When black people come along and say, well, we can build our own businesses. Oh, no, Negro, you crazy. It's black-owned businesses. What's wrong with y'all? Right? The Negro naysayer. The Negro naysayer believes that there is a problem for every solution. Right? If you look at many of our black scholars, and this is people like the Mark Lamont Hills of the world. First thing I saw on Mark's Twitter. Now, again, I'm not talking about Mark. I know a lot of y'all have opinions about him. You can have those opinions, whatever you think. But first thing he does is he's cooning over this comment by Steve Martin, the white comedian, and how he talked about how he listened to Imani Perry's book on his way to the dentist. So this white man who you put in the position of a god acknowledges you and you say, this is the dopest thing ever. This is the dopest thing ever. Why? Well, because he's a white man who's been validated by other white people. So therefore you think he's next to God. A black man could have said the exact same thing and it wouldn't have been at the top of the Twitter feed. It wouldn't be pinned to the top of the Twitter feed as some sort of lifetime achievement award. So you are in a position where you are looking at them as your gods. You're trying to get up to heaven by getting as close to white people as you possibly can be. That's what integration is all about. Integration is built on the false idea that if I'm a black scholar and white people hire me at a white university, that I have somehow made it. That if I'm a black actor and white Hollywood decides they want to give me a movie role, then I have somehow made it. If I am a white person or a black person who wants to commentate on TV, maybe I can sell my blackness for $1. And if CNN calls me, then I am somebody because, my God, the white people at CNN have acknowledged me. They can pee on you, spit on you, crap on you, but you will tolerate all of that because you want your chance to be next to God. You really think you have made it. You have made it because you're away from black people and you get a chance to sit next to famous white people. Bill Maher, this raggedy ass drug addict who has some weird fetish with black transvestites, invites me on his show and suddenly I'm special. Suddenly I'm significant now. Well, but so there's no room on any level to look at Bill Maher and say, you a raggedy ass son of a bitch. Like, you ain't shit. I wouldn't want you in my family, you old nasty motherfucker. Like, but he's special. Why? Because he's been validated. He's been blessed by the angels. HBO, a white-owned company, has given him this big platform, which therefore means that all sins are forgiven, all flaws are overlooked. Everything that's pathetic about him is not viewed because he is a power broker, right? And so for black people, I would just tell you this. We have this thing. We have three characteristics And actually, I should make an acronym out of this. I need to find another one so I can make the word fail. I don't have the A yet. I haven't even started putting it together. I just look. I like acronyms because it helps us remember shit. But the three words that came to mind are fear, insecurity, and a lack of self-belief. Fear, insecurity, and a lack of self-belief. So I'm going to figure out what the A should stand for so I can use the word fail. So now it's Phil, or maybe it could be life spelled backwards. So maybe I can find the E, or I don't know. But anyway, so fear means that as Black people scare you into everything. Fear is the reason why a lot of Black people won't invest in the stock market. Well, why is that? Well, because you got your uncle who doesn't know nothing about stocks, who told you that investing in stocks is going to cause you to lose all your money. So don't you dare do that. Don't you do that, because stock market going to crash. The whole global economy is going to hell. You're going to lose everything, girl. Don't you? So because of fear, we don't see desire. Your brain has, when you see risk, your brain has two options. It can either look at desire, like I can climb this mountain, I'll be higher than I've ever been, or fear, which is I can fall off the mountain and fall lower than I've ever fallen, right? We tend to look toward fear. We look toward the negative outcome. We look toward the thing that scares us, and that puts you into a cage. You were released from slavery, but it doesn't matter because you made yourself into a slave because you built your own cage and you threw away the key and you live in that cage, and then you say the white man's got me locked up. So fear is a big reason why we don't invest in things like stocks, stuff like that. Fear also drives politics. Politicians have studied Black people like rats in a lab, and they figured out that Black people don't respond to desire. They don't respond to who the best candidate is. They don't respond to all the great things a candidate can do for you. They respond to fear. They respond to the Republicans are racist. They're going to come get you. They're going to put you in chains. They're going to put you in concentration camp. I had a Black person say that. I literally had a Black lady yell at me and say, the Trump's going to put us in concentration camps. And I said, where are these camps located? Only concentration camps I know about were built by Joe Biden. I mean, just to be honest with you, like I don't know of any concentration camps Trump built. But if he built them, then tell me, because I need to know about this. The Proud Boys, they're going to come get you. The Proud Boys going to come kill everybody. Well, tell me, when's the last time Proud Boys killed 1,000 Black people? Just 1,000. I mean, there's 40 million of us, but just 1,000. Point to 1,000 Black people who were killed by the Proud Boys, the KKK, these white supremacist groups. Just show me 1,000. That's all I need is 1,000. 1,000 people died from Corona today. So it's an easy number, right? So it's a low bar. Give me 1,000. Give me 500. Give me 250. 250. Y'all can't even give me 250. Why? Well, because all that shit is in your head. All that shit is in your head because you are drowning in fear. You live in a ball of fear, and they can control you. They can control your reality by not talking about things that are actually happening to you or talking about things that have actually occurred. They can control your reality by talking about all the things that might happen to you. They literally go fourth, fifth dimensional on your ass. Like I'm a mathematician. My master's was I taught math at the University of Kentucky. 3-dimensional space is where you live. We live in 3-dimensional space, length, width, and height. 4-dimensional space can include time. Time is where you think about your whole life and all the places you've been, all the places you're going to go, etc. 5th dimensional space is where you're thinking about where you are, where you've been, and where you could have gone and where you could go, right? So they go 5th dimensional on your ass, damn near 6th dimensional. 6th dimensional is where you're literally manifesting and creating things that don't even exist, right? And the 6th dimension is actually where God lives. The 6th dimension is God. I'm getting real deep on y'all real quick. I'm not going to go too deep. I don't want to scare nobody because I know we got fear. Fear is always present when we're talking. But just trust me when I tell you that the 6th dimension is where God lives. And the white man goes 5th and 6th dimensional on your ass. And that's why you think he is a God. That's why you elevate other people to the status of gods, because they will affect you with 5th and 6th dimensional projections onto 3-dimensional space, and you take something that's not real and you make it real. They say the Proud Boys might go kill. The Proud Boys ain't killed nobody yet, but they might come kill you next month, right? And you're like, oh Lord Jesus, the Proud Boys is killing everybody. No, they're not killing everybody. They haven't done anything yet. But they might do it. They might do it, y'all. And so what will happen is that you'll give up a real 3-dimensional object in exchange for something that doesn't exist in the 5th dimension. Like, so you will give away something real, something very real. Like I don't know, reparations or something like, I don't know, a 10 billion, 100 billion, $300 billion for black businesses, you'll look right past that in exchange for protection from these imaginary white supremacist armies that are going to come slaughter all the black people next month. Right now, because remember, pay attention. You got to pay attention to the language. You got to think deep about this. They almost never talk about things that are actually happening or things that have actually occurred. They talk about what is gonna happen, what might happen, right? So that's when they're going to the higher dimensions on you. They're going into the fifth and sixth dimension where they're creating things that don't even exist and manifesting it in your life, and you're sucking it in, and it becomes real. Like, you really get up in the morning thinking, oh my God, if I walk outside, I might die from coronavirus after being shot by a cop. And so it doesn't matter. So when I come along and I say, no, not to say that police shootings aren't bad, they are bad. But let's put it into context. Less than 50 unarmed black men per year are shot by the police. Or killed by the police. Actually, I'm sorry, killed. These numbers are bad, right? These numbers are very bad. But that's not the same as the 100,000 black men that, or 200,000 or 300,000 that are in prison right now because of Joe Biden and Bill Clinton's crime bill. That's real. Like, that's here, right? That's a big number. Right. But instead of saying, gosh, you're right, maybe I should think about the 100,000 instead of just focusing on the 50, instead of saying that, right, which would require something a lot of people don't have, which is logic. I get in trouble because I'm overly logical. I'm emotional, but I'm very logical. And so sometimes I go Dr. Spock on your ass. Well, I'll just lay out the facts, and people don't like that. Why? Well, because we live on emotion, and the number one emotion we live on is called fear. Fear keeps Negroes, praying in church instead of getting revenge. Fear keeps us voting for the same politicians even when we get nothing done. Fear keeps us from trying something new and different so that we can get out of our situation. Fear keeps us from supporting those who are trying to bust out of white supremacy, right? So fear is that number one emotion that is probably one of the greatest predators of black possibility that exists in this country. If you were to let go of fear, you could accomplish anything. This doesn't just matter for your personal life. This matters for the community as a collective. So if you want my advice for today, my word for today is understand that fear, 99 times out of 100, whatever it is that you're most afraid of, ain't even motherfucking real. That shit is fake. You created that. So your biggest enemy is internal. It ain't the white man down the street. There's plenty of white men. There's white men on my street. They have no say in my life. They can't control anything that I do. They can't. It doesn't matter. They can call me the N-word. They can talk smack about me. They can look at me funny when I walk down the street. If I don't acknowledge or accept or internalize any of that, it means absolutely nothing. Do me a favor, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Also, if you want to get a text notification when I go live, you can go to you can text the word voice to 31996. Text voice to 31996. Also, I have a book called It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. You can have it for free. You can have it totally for free. You can go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. We're changing the narrative. We're changing the world. And that's why people get upset about it. So the other word besides fear is insecurity. Insecurity meaning that you kind of feel like you're the out crowd. You kind of feel like you're trying to become something. You're looking for validation. And you're looking for validation from people who are not qualified to validate you. And that's something that a lot of us go through as black people, because in this world, you're raised to believe that you're nothing, that you're just a lowly Negro until a white man pats you on the head. Think about this. Look how proud black people get when a white man gives us a fancy job at a fancy office, or we get on a white man's TV show and we suddenly feel like, mama, I made it. Look at me, mama, I made it. Or a white person gets like a Pulitzer Prize. Negroes go crazy when white people give them Pulitzer Prizes or Grammys or Oscars or all these other things. Again, they go fifth and sixth dimensional on your ass. You might may not know this, but if you read the book called How the Jews Invented Hollywood, which is an excellent book. It's not anti-Semitic at all. It really just gives the history of Hollywood. And I have my students in Black Business School read it so that they can learn how to build their own Black Hollywood, learn how the Jewish community showed such resilience in building, this massive infrastructure, which I'm actually quite impressed with. In that book, the Oscar, which so many Negroes take so much pride in, the Oscars was invented by studio executives who said, we don't want to pay them any more money. We don't want to give them the three-dimensional object of money. So in order to avoid paying actors more money, let's just create some shit. Let's just make up an award. Like, they have these insecurities and where they need to be validated. So we're not going to give you any money. We're going to give you this award called an Oscar. It don't mean shit, but we're going to make you think that it means something. And that's what they did. They created it so they would not have to give them money. Go back to what I said earlier. Fifth dimensional manifestations are not, like, remember, 3 dimensions is what's real. That's what's in front of you. 4th dimension is time, right? What has happened and what's going to happen. 5th dimension is the possibilities, right? All the things that could happen, all things that could be real. 6th dimension is going deeper than all the things that could happen and could have happened. 6th dimension is where you literally create new origin points. You literally make shit up. It's where you create things that didn't exist. Like, for example, if I'm a cartoonist and I draw a cartoon character, I'm a god for that cartoon character. I get to decide if that god is smart, or excuse me, if that character is smart or dumb. I get to decide if the character is black or white, old or young, male or female. If they live, if they die, I can kill the character, because in that world that I created as an artist, I am a god. So go back to the power that white supremacy has over you. They're positioned as gods because they manifest things and create things, and they push them down into 3-dimensional space to where you think that they're actually real. So I'm a white man. I have a lot of money. I run a studio. I don't want to pay anybody because payment requires something physical, something real. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go to the 6th dimension. I'm going to manifest this thing called an Oscar or a Grammy or some other bullshit. And you're going to think it's real. So you will trade a 3-dimensional object in exchange for my 6th-dimensional manifestation, which automatically gives me supremacy over you. It gives me power over you. Because now I'm like, oh, I'm like a god. I'm printing money. All I gotta do is give out more of these motherfucking Oscars, and they'll pass up millions of dollars just to get this thing that I pulled out of my ass last Tuesday. Do you follow what I'm saying? Give me a yes or no if you get what I'm saying. I'm a little deeper today because I have to go deep, and I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Some people should leave because this is probably a little bit too much. But for those of you that kind of like this stuff, I kind of want to go deep. This is how I think. These are the things I observe when I'm in my own brain. This is what I see in the world. That's why I'm such a weirdo. I own it. I own the fact that I'm very weird, but I'm proud of my weirdness because my weirdness allows me to have insights that I don't think a lot of people can see. Like, when you go to a higher dimension, you can see the lower dimensions in a way that people who live on those dimensions can't see it. Like, a 2-dimensional object is like flat, like a piece of paper. It has length and it has width. But if you're in 3 dimensions, you can look at the paper like this. You can see the whole forest. You're not caught up in the trees. You see? And so a lot of us live on these lower dimensions, and all we can see are the trees. We don't see the forest. And again, white supremacy, to me, submitting to that, is allowing him to sit up there, and he sees the whole forest. He's managing Negroes the way he's managing a rat running through a maze. He's watching the rat. Okay, the rat went that way. Okay, put a barrier right there. He'll go back. Let's incentivize him to go east. Let's put some cheese over here and put a wall over here, and then he's gonna go that way, right? So he's in 3-dimensional space. You're in 2-dimensional space, run around like a rat in the cage, and then you wonder why he has power over you. Well, it's just like in battle, in warfare. What do they tell you in battle? I got a lot of soldiers that follow me. Soldiers, answer this question for me. If we are in a battle and you are in lower ground and I'm in higher ground, I'm above you. My platoon or my unit is above your unit. Who has the advantage? Tell me who has the advantage. If you're in lower ground, you're 2-dimensional space, right? I'm higher ground. I'm 3-dimensional. I can see you coming. I can see which way you're going. I can see the exits. And who has the advantage? The person with lower ground or the person who's operating in higher ground? It's higher ground. Higher ground has a huge advantage. That's why they tell you the military. I'm not, and now mind you, I give respect to soldiers because I never had to go put my life on the line so I have a lot of respect for you, all of you who are veterans. Thank you for your service. My father was in Vietnam, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for soldiers. You'll never hear me disrespect a veteran ever on this platform. So the point of the matter is that the reason white supremacy tends to just kind of always be there. And the reason the white man always seems to be winning is because you give him higher ground in almost every case. You make the assumption that what he's got going on is better than anything you could have going on. You make the assumption that whoever he is always better than who you are. you make the assumption that getting next to him and getting into his space is always better than staying in your own space. Getting in his lane is better than being in your own lane, right? So one of the things I learned, one of the ways I was able to conquer white supremacy, and this is why I'm more committed to Black excellence, is I said, why in the fuck am I wasting my time? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just brag on myself, but I'm not a stupid man. I said, Boyce, you are one of, I had a conversation with myself in the mirror, and I said, Boyce, you're one of the smartest people I know. You work your ass off. You're a hardworking Black man. You work 10 times harder than all these worthless ass racist bastards around you. You've accomplished more than them. You're smarter than 99.9% of the white people you've ever met. So why are you spending your time following up behind losers? Why are you letting people who are unqualified to evaluate you even get the license to even decide what they think about you? Why does their opinion matter? Well, because, Boyce, you are a white supremacist. You have been led to believe falsely that what they think about you is more important than what you think about you. We got to fix that. We got to fix that. So one way I fixed that was I put myself through white supremacy rehab. You know, because when you've been hitting that crack pipe of white supremacy your whole life, it's hard to get off the pipe. It's real hard. So in order to get off the pipe, one of the things I decided to do, and this is just my thinking here, this is not me telling anybody what to do or anything like that. But what I decided to do was I said, instead of worrying about what they got going on, I'm going to put my energy into what I got going on. Because whatever I got going on over here, that's the littest shit that there is. There's nothing you can have going on over in White Manville that will interest me more than what I got going on, right? Instead of letting those people evaluate and tell me, like they're giving me a compliment. Oh, well, I saw your platform, doctor, and I think it's extraordinary. I was like, that's really nice. Thank you for saying that, but that doesn't mean anything to me because you're not my target audience. You're not even. What we got going on over here matters more than what you got going on. But CNN, I used to go on CNN and all this other stuff back in the day, because it was like a big deal, like, you're on CNN. And then I was like, man, fuck CNN. Oh my God, why do I submit to this bullshit? Like, why do I want to go and waste half a day of valuable time I could spend doing so many other things that are more important? Right. And sitting in this chair for 5 minutes talking about what they want to talk about, not what I want to talk about, and literally letting them control the whole process, the whole conversation. Right. And so at that point, I just kind of stopped being interested when they would call. I mean, maybe one day I might do more interviews on there at some point. I don't know, under the right conditions, possibly. But when I say I really don't care, I really don't give a fuck. I truly don't care. And because I truly feel it's an inferior platform relative to what I care about, right? Like I'm sitting here and I get to talk to you guys as much as I want, anytime I want, for as long as I want, about whatever I want, and I can reach 1 million Black people a week all by myself. Why the fuck do I need CNN? Why do I care what they think? These people are liars. They're full of propaganda. They twist the truth in horrible ways. Same thing with Fox News, right? So this is not a left or right conversation. This is just a white or Black conversation if you really want to put it in those contexts. So when you think about these three things, fear, insecurity, and a lack of self-belief, right? A lack of self-belief is connected to fear and insecurity. We're insecure because we're afraid, and because we're insecure and afraid, we don't believe in ourselves, right? That's where this inability to build for self or do for self comes from. That's why. So a lot of your so-called most successful Black people, which in many cases are the most integrated Black people, right? They're sitting next to white folks. Maybe they're married to a white woman. Maybe they're living in a white neighborhood. Maybe they're driving a nice car. Maybe they have a nice fancy job. These are the most frightened and insecure people too, because they've never known a life where they could actually survive and have prosperity and success without white people validating them. That's why when many celebrities come along and they catch what we're doing, now because I reach a lot of people, I have a lot of celebrities that'll come up, people on TV and stuff like that. I always have to vet them to see if they've actually spent time really thinking about what this really means. Because I think that if you look at the way we're raised, we are truly raised to be white supremacists. We are truly raised to live in complete fear and insecurity. And the only people that can take away that fear and insecurity and give us confidence are our gods who live in the fifth and sixth dimension, who manifest a reality down to us that will cause us to move the way they want us to move. Also, it will cause us to trade things that are real in exchange for things that are not real. So when media is feeding you propaganda about how a Trump reelection is going to cause the Proud Boys to come through every black neighborhood with AK-47s and murder everybody, you'll trade. You won't even want to talk about reparations because you're so afraid and you're so caught up in your fear, right? You're like, please God, meaning him, right? Please God, take my fear away, because I'm operating on such a low vibration right now. I can't even focus on anything aspirational. I can't talk about building businesses when I'm afraid of being murdered by the Proud Boys. I can't talk about fighting for reparations when I'm too scared to even take a chance that we might have to deal with another 4 years of Trump in this election. Right? You can't operate at a high frequency and a low frequency at the same time. And I believe that a large percentage of our community is trained to operate on that baseline survival frequency. And people that spend all their time thinking about survival can't really focus on prosperity. They don't even know what prosperity looks like. That's not even a part of their dialogue, because they're so scared of all the bad things that can come next. So if you ever want to be free, this is, if you internalize this, I promise you, I guarantee you, this will probably be the most important thing you'll ever hear from me. If you ever want to be free yourself from fear. Let go of your fear and you will fly like an eagle. You can do anything. And at that point, if you are away from your fear and committed to doing what you feel is right and being who God meant for you to be, then you will find yourself operating at a level where a lot of people won't even understand you. A lot of the Negroes sitting back on the second dimension are going to look up and see you flying through the sky like an eagle and just hate on you because you're flying. Like, why aren't you on the ground like the rest of us? So get out of that victim mentality. Stop living in fear. That is not going to benefit you ever. So anyway, let me get out of here, guys. I'm going to go take me a nap. I'm doing something with Judge Joe Brown a little bit later if you guys want to check it out on his YouTube channel. I don't know his channel though, but I'm doing something with him. And also, you guys know we have the Powernomics Masterclass every week. It was really, really good. Dr. Claude Anderson really killed it. And so if you want to join, feel free to go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Do me a favor before you go, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button. Please share this video. If it helped you and you think somebody else can benefit from it, please share it. And also, let me give you something free. There's a program called Black Keys to Greatness that I think links to the theme of what we talked about today. And it did have a fee attached to it, but we waived the fee completely. So you can actually join for life right now for free. The URL is right there on the screen. It's blackkeystogreatness.com. That's where I talk about all this stuff. And I'm talking about manifesting and all that. Like, I have my own version of that. It didn't come out of I didn't read a Deepak Chopra book and all this other shit. It just came from my experience in terms of overcoming my own limitations and saying, how can I be the best that I can be? Because I tell you, as Black people, there's so much of this victim mentality that's drilled into us, so much of this fear. We don't value who we are. And that translates into other things like the inability to delay gratification. Because if you're always in fear and you're always insecure, then you lose faith. You have no faith in who you are or what you can be. You totally, and when you don't have faith and you're constantly stuck in fear and insecurity, then you surrender. You give up all your freedom because you're like, I'm scared to death. Please make me safe. I'll do anything to do that. Right. So that's when a pimp has the ability to come along and sell you a dream or sell you protection. Right. So don't get caught up in that stuff. You can do it on your own. Like, you really can do shit by yourself. Like, I don't know who told us that white people control everything. They don't. There's nothing special about them. They get them, put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. They did not fly from heaven on wings, but yet some of us really believe in this white supremacy thing. I don't respond to it. I don't acknowledge it. It does not exist in my space or in my life, and I'm not going to allow it to. And don't act like it's because I'm not a broke person or I'm doing okay financially. No, there was a time where I was broker than you. I had less money than you did. I know a lot of people who are in that situation. So mindset is everything, man. Don't let anybody tell you different. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you later. Peace.